Hello everyone, my name is Natasha and I'm a first year medical student. This video is about the topic that plays a vital role in the field of medicine, which is oncology, the study of cancer. So, what is exactly is cancer? Cancer is an uncontrolled growth of cells in the body. Under normal circumstances, cells will grow and divide into new cells. Meanwhile, the old or damaged cell will naturally die and replaced by these new cells. However, when this process fails to work correctly, this will causing abnormal or damaged cell to grow and multiply and forming a tumor. These tumors can be either cancerous or non-cancerous. The cancerous tumors can migrate from one location to other parts of the body to form a new tumors. Then I'd like to introduce you to an extraordinary individual whose contribution to the field of oncology have been nothing short of remarkable. Let me start with Dr. Suresh Atbani, an oncologist who pioneered hematopoietic stem cell transplantation in India. He has 35 years of experience in the field of oncology and has awarded a lifetime achievement in oncology by Harvard Medical International. Next, we have Dr. Christopher Wolfgang, one of the world's top oncologists for pancreatic cancer and has performed more than 1,200 people procedures for pancreatic cancer, and currently he is the director of hepatobiliary and pancreatic surgery at NYU Langone Health. Finally, I'd like to highlight Professor Dr. Yip Ching Hor, the president of Breast Surgery International in 2015 until 2017. She is qualified as an expert in cancer control by the World Health Organization and the International Atomic Energy. She is also the first woman surgeon to be the president of the College of Surgeons of Malaysia. In this segment, I'll be talking about the anatomy of the lung. The lung are a pair of spongy cone-shaped organs located in the chest cavity. They are protected by the ribcage and separated by a space called the mediastinum, with the base resting on the diaphragm and apex extending slightly above the level of the first rib, a costal surface facing the rib, and a mediastinal surface facing the heart and the other mediastinal structure. Each lung is divided into lobes. The right lung has 3 lobes, which is the superior, middle, and inferior lobe, making it slightly larger than the left lung. The superior and the middle lobes are separated by the horizontal fissure here, as we can see, and the middle and the inferior lobe are separated by the oblique fissure, as we can see here. The left lung, however, is divided into 2 lobes, which is superior and inferior, and separated by the oblique fissure. The lungs connect to the outside wall through a series of airways. Trachea, also known as the windpipe, will branch into the right and left primary bronchi. Each primary bronchus leads to a lung and further divides into smaller branches called secondary and tertiary bronchi. The tertiary bronchi will branch into bronchiole, which further divide into smaller terminal bronchial and respiratory bronchiole. Alveoli are the primary site of gas exchange. There are 2 types of alveolar cells, which is type 1 that responsible for gas exchange and type 2 that produce surfactant, so the surface tension will be reduced and preventing alveoli from collapse. The alveoli also surrounded by a dense capillary network for efficient oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange. The lungs are covered by a double membrane called pleura. The visceral pleura here directly covers the lung, while the parietal pleura will line the chest wall. Between this layer is the pleural cavity, which contains fluid to reduce friction during breathing. Next, we're going to talk about how the gas exchange in the lung. The inhalation will bring oxygen-rich air into the lung. Oxygen in the inhaled air will reach the alveoli, which are surrounded by dense capillary network. In the alveoli, oxygen concentration is higher than in the deoxygenated blood in the surrounding capillaries. Then the oxygen will diffuse across the thin alveolar wall and the capillary endothelium into the blood following the concentration gradient. In the blood, oxygen will bind to hemoglobin in red blood cells to form oxyhemoglobin. Carbon dioxide, a waste product of cellular metabolism, is carried in the blood back to the lung. In the capillaries around the alveoli, CO2 concentration is higher in the blood than in the alveoli. Carbon dioxide will then diffuse from the blood into the alveoli to be exhaled. Before we move on to the further topic, let's talk about how carbon dioxide is transported in the blood. There are 3 main ways CO2 is transported in the blood, which is a small portion of CO2 will dissolve directly in the plasma as it is likely soluble in the water. Next pathway is the majority of CO2 will react with water in RBC to form carbonic acid and catalyzed by the enzyme carbonic anhydrase. Carbonic acid will quickly dissociate into bicarbonate ion and hydrogen ion. Bicarbonate ions are transported in the plasma. Next, CO2 will bind directly to the amino group of hemoglobin molecule in red blood cell, forming carbaminohemoglobin. When the blood reaches the lung, this mechanism works in reverse to release CO2 for exhalation. The bicarbonate ion will recombine with hydrogen ion to form carbonic acid, which breaks down into CO2 and water. CO2 that bound to hemoglobin will release as it detaches. The dissolved CO2 diffuses directly from the plasma into the alveoli. Finally, the CO2 is expelled through the lung when we exhale. I will explain how lung cancer develops. First, lung cancer will damage when there is exposure to carcinogen. These environmental exposures lead to genetic mutations in oncogenes or tumor suppressors gene. For example, EGFR, ALK, and KRAS. When the lung cancer that damage just now accumulate, the lung cell will lose control over the growth and divide uncontrollably, forming a mass of animal cells called tumor. The tumor that initially form in the lung lining, typically starting in the bronchi or the peripheral lung tissues. The type of lung cancer depends on the location and the affected cell type. Over time, the tumor grows and can invade nearby tissue, damaging healthy lung tissue and blocking airways, or tumor can also spread to lymph nodes or distant organs through the bloodstream or lymphatic system. These tumors can be non-small cell lung cancer and small cell lung cancer. Non-small cell includes subtypes like adenocarcinoma that usually begins in the outer regions of the lungs, squamous cell carcinoma that usually begin in the bronchial tube, and large cell carcinoma that usually begin in the outer edges of the lung. The small cell cancer accounts for about 15% of cases and linked to heavy smoking. This type of cancer will grow and spread rapidly. Lung cancer is divided into stages based on the size of the tumor, whether it has spread to lymph node, and if it has metastasis to the other parts of the body. First, we're gonna talk about the stages of non-small cell lung cancer. On stage 1, the cancer hasn't spread outside the lung. On the stage 2, cancer is larger than stage 1 and has spread to lymph node inside the lung, or there's more than one tumor in the same lobe of the lung. Stage 3, cancer is larger than stage 2 and has spread to nearby lymph node or structures, or there's more than one tumor in different lobe of the same lung. On the stage 4, which is the last stage, cancer has spread to the other lung, the fluid around the lung, and the fluid around the heart or distant organ. Meanwhile, the stage of small cell lung cancer are divided into two stages, which is the limited stage and extensive stage. Limited stage is confined to one lung and can sometimes be in the lymph node in the middle of the chest or above the collarbone on the same side. Meanwhile, the extensive stage is widespread throughout one lung or has spread to the other lung, lymph nodes on the opposite side of the lung, or to the other part of the body. Here are some of the most common symptoms of lung cancer. First, in unexplained weight loss, when there is losing weight without trying. Next is persistent cough. A cough that doesn't go away or worsens over time can be an early warning sign. The third one is coughing up blood, also known as hemoptysis. Next is chest pain. Pain that worsens with deep breathing, coughing, or laughing can signal lung cancer. Weakness or feeling tired all the time, even after rest. Hoarseness or voice changes when there is pressure or irritation of the vocal cord. Next is persistent or severe headaches can occur if lung cancer spreads to the brain or create pressure on large veins carrying blood from the head to the heart. And the last one is the bone pain. Pain in the bones, particularly in the back, hips, or long bones, can be a sign that lung cancer has spread to the bone. Let me explain the treatment option for lung cancer. Surgery is typically an option for early stage lung cancer and aims to remove the tumor and any affected tissue. Type of lung cancer surgery. First one is lobectomy, which is the removal of the affected lobe of the lung. Second is pneumonectomy, removal of an entire lung. Third, segmentectomy, removal of small part of the lung. And the last one is lymph node dissection, lymph node removal to check for cancer spread. Radiation. The second treatment is radiation therapy. Radiation therapy will use high energy rays to kill cancer cells or shrink tumors. Types of radiation therapy is EBRT, SBRT, and brachytherapy. The third one is chemotherapy. Chemotherapy involves the use of drugs to kill rapidly dividing cancer cells. It is often used for both NSCLC, and SCLC. Targeted therapies specifically will attack the genetic mutations or abnormalities in cancer cells. The common targeted drugs is EGFR, ALK, and KRAS inhibitor. Fifth one is immunotherapy that helps the immune system to recognize and destroy cancer cells. The last one is combination therapy. For stage 3 and SCLC, radiation therapy is combined with chemotherapy, and in SCLC, a combination of chemotherapy and radiation is a standard. The reference of my video. Thank you for watching my video about oncology, specifically on lung cancer. I hope this information has helped you better understand the anatomy and physiology of the lungs, the symptoms to look out for, and the available treatments for these serious conditions. That's all from me. Thank you.